The goal of the study is to get know on how hazard identification, risk assessment and risk control, which is known as HIRAC method, used at the construction sites. We know construction sites have many types of hazardous activities such as working with high level storage, moving at high level and more. Therefore, any risk should be avoided immediately to avoid any harm to other people. An effective way to prevent accident, we must use the HIRAC method. HIRAC method is used to identify the kind of activity which is followed by the identification of the hazard source in order to assess the risk of accidents. Then, risk control is used to minimize the hazard exposure on each work activity. HIRAC also allows to identify all the factors that may cause harm to employees and others. HIRAC also allows employers to plan, execute, and assess preventive measures in order to ensure that risks are effectively managed.
Task and activity table. The activity is working with high-level storage. The hazard for this activity is falling of heavy object, so the risk of this harm is heavy object can fall and hit workers. The existing risk control is wool a grill at high level, and for the recommended countermeasure is provide safety helmet. Next, moving at high level. The hazard for this activity is falling from platform to others, and the risk is fall from height. The existing risk is use lanyard hook properly, and the recommended countermeasure is ensuring to wear a safety helmet. For the plastering task, the hazard is defective platform fall, and the risk is fall from height. The existing risk control is safety belt, and its recommended control measure is install handrail. For the loading the wood task, the hazard is heavy load, and the risk is muscular and back pain. The existing risk control for this activity is safety work practice, and its recommended countermeasure is use mechanical lifter. Lastly, for the clearing unused material task, the hazard is sharp object, and the risk is finger cut and injury on leg. The existing risk control is safety work practice, and its recommended countermeasure is use leather gloves and safety boots.
For HIRAC form, the hazard identification column is one of the ways to identify the danger that will occur to a person when do a work, while column risk analysis is to calculate the probability of risk that will occur when a person does a work, and the risk control is the way of how to reduce the risk when a person do a work. For number 1, the work activity is working at high level storage, and the hazard is the heavy object falling off that can cause heavy object fall and hit the other workers. Existing risk control is built a grid at a high level which have the likelihood 3, which is possible to happen in some cases. Severity is 5 because it can lead to the death or fatal. And the last is the risk level, which is 15, that means the highest. So, it needs a faster and rapid action in order to lower the risk. The recommended control that we can take is provide the safety helmet among the workers. Then, for moving at high level, the hazard is falling off from the platform that can cause fall from height. The likelihood is 2, severity is 5, and the risk range is medium. Make sure to wear safety helmet that provided is the recommended control measure that can lower the risk. Same goes to the plastering, loading the woods and clearing unused material.
Next, for the table of ranking of the task and control shows that the low risk for these activities is clearing unused material because the rate of the risk is 3. The medium risk is in this activity is loading at the woods and moving at a high level. Besides, working with high level storage was a high risk because the risk is 15. From the video at construction place shows that plastering activity is extremely risk with the risk is 25.
Now I'm going to explain to you guys about Safe Operation Procedure, also known as SOP. SOP is really important in working industry as they have been used to tell workers on how to perform work efficiently and to avoid accidents at work. As you can see on the slide here, there is a table contains 2 components which are the task and SOP. For the first task, which is working with high-level storage, the SOP for this task is to wear a proper safety equipment. Next, for the second task, moving at high level. The SOP here is do not go to a fragile surface. For the third task, which is plastering, the SOP here is to wear glove, eye protection, and dust mask. This is important to ensure that your body parts are securely protected. For the fourth task, which is loading the woods, the SOP is do not stack the woods as this will obstruct the view. And lastly, the fifth task is clearing the unused material. The SOP implemented here is to make sure working space is clean to avoid any accidents. All these SOPs are really important to be followed by the workers to make sure that there is no accidents happen at work.